So what happens when you get a coin like this with a big old dent on it? Sometimes you hear the excuse, it's just bullion. Or is it actually a mint error? Is this something that I should treasure and keep? It's certainly been offered by people to buy it off me. But nevertheless, the excuse of just being bullion sometimes isn't really an appropriate response for damaged coins like this. So let's dive in and talk all about what happens when you get something like this and how you should manage it when you do. Hello everybody, Backyard Bullion here, and a very warm welcome to you all joining me for another Precious Metal Ramble. So you've probably heard the phrase, oh it's just bullion. And if you've heard that phrase, it's probably because you've had a bad coin that's got some damage or some dings or milk spots on it, and that's the excuse that dealers will give. It's just bullion. What more can you expect? Is that something that's really acceptable? Is it valid? Is it the dealer's fault? Is it the mint's fault? Is it someone else's fault? Well, today I want to talk a little bit about that and the different perspectives that you might not have thought about when it comes to the it's just bullion approach. And there are pluses and minuses for both sides. So do bear with me as we go throughout this video. Of course, the coin major off focus here is, of course, my dinged up, horrible King Charles coin. And I don't say it's horrible because of King Charles. I think he looks great, but it's dinged and it's not great. Now, to share a little update on this, I have had a call with somebody from the Royal Mint, not just the customer service team either. And this will be going back to the Royal Mint for a replacement. Now, in addition to it just going back for a replacement, hopefully the Royal Mint will be able to identify how something like this happened and how something like this got out to a customer in the first place. So that's refreshing to hear. It's not just, it's just bullion, you need to lump it and love it, it's just how it is. If it had come maybe from a dealer, I don't think maybe a dealer would be quite so open to change it and get something returned and replaced. They would have to then work out what they would do with this coin, send it back to the Royal Mint, etc, etc. Some dealers will, and I've dealt with a few dealers who have done this in the past, and they're fantastic at it, but it's not the norm. And you've got to understand the few reasons why that might not be as easy an option as you might think it would be. So, the main thing here is, of course, this came directly from the Royal Mint, and there is no question that it arrived in this state. I'm not saying that everybody does this, but there are definitely times where it's possible for people who have taken delivery of a nice brand new gold coin or silver coin or proof coin or wherever it is from the Royal Mint, and they've got it, they've loved it, they've gone, oh look, it's great, and they open the capsule, they look at it, and they maybe drop it, and there's a big ding on the coin. I've certainly seen a few coins like that being sold on the second-hand market where people have been open and honest. They've gone, look, it's at spot price because I dropped it and it's got a big ding on it. But there are probably some unscrupulous people in this world that might do that and go, I've damaged that coin, it's not going to earn me as much money. So they immediately turn around and they will blame someone else. And that's sad, but it's also something that definitely happens. Having spoken with many bullion dealers in my time, it definitely happens. And in that situation, of course, you've got this difficult, did it actually come supplied damaged, or did somebody damage it and it's an excuse for returning it? And so generally speaking, you won't get returns for minor defects. But if you buy directly from the Mint, whilst their return policy is pretty clear that you can't return bullion, they also do have a little strapline that says if you think the coin does not meet our extremely high quality standards, then you can return it for inspection, and then somebody will make a decision on that. And I think it's fairly plain to see, and I knew straight from the off that this coin would always be replaced. There is no way that directly from the Royal Mint they could, ignore that. But it did get me thinking, I unboxed that on camera. And, I like to think I'm a pretty reputable guy. I don't think that I would ever be accused by somebody from the Royal Mint of going, no, well, look, you damaged that coin, or we can't verify that it was delivered like that, so how do we know it wasn't you? As an excuse not to replace. But that has happened in the past, and that might happen again in the future. So what I suggest is that when you buy stuff like this, either from the Royal Mint directly or from dealers, that get in the habit of just turning your phone camera on. Yeah, everyone's got good cameras on phones these days. Just turn it on, set it up, prop it up against something and unbox what you're getting, and just have a quick look. And if it's something like this that's come fresh from the Royal Mint, that's your recourse right there. It protects you. It makes sure that you are not going to be the one that's ultimately liable for somebody else's mistake. Now, how much of a mistake is then going to be defined as something that needs replacing is anybody's guess. And I do, I do sympathise with people that have, for example, Britannias that get milk spots on, or other little issues on them. Maybe they got dings and dents on, like this one's here got a little rim ding on because it's been supplied in a tube, and they rub up and down against each other, and they bosh up and down against each other. So it's it's one of those. The line in the sand has to be drawn somewhere, and it's really interesting to find out what that line in the sand is from a dealer, as opposed to directly from the mint. That will be, I think, really fascinating. So hopefully, as this whole process of the return and replacement goes, we'll get some engagement with the Royal Mint. They've actually invited me up to their site in Wales to have a sit down with their, I believe, head of quality or assay master, I believe it was. So that will be interesting in its own right. Going to find some time, hopefully within the next month or two, to go up there and talk about that and see what happens in the world of bullion and how something like that might happen, or what they find out about this particular thing. There's also other things that I'll be talking about with the Royal Mint, which I think will be really fascinating. I can't speak more about them right now, but honestly, there is something quite big that I want to share, but I can't right now. But it's going to be big. I know that sounds really vague, and that's like the typical YouTuber thing going, for attention or whatever. But honestly, there's a really big thing in the works that I'm excited about, and it's interesting, and it's different. It's not something that we're really going to get any other news on until I've got everything concrete in. So that's something to share in due course. But it does get me thinking about the kind of the bullion excuse. And I think it comes down to expectations. It comes down to expectations of customers versus the dealers or the sellers of these coins. And I think it's important to understand that as a customer, the product that you're buying isn't necessarily something that will be an MS70 perfect coin, graded coin perfect every time. It's just not possible. Proof coins, even those, won't be 70s every time. We know this because when we send coins off for grading, you get maybe 50%, if you're lucky, go 70, the rest go 69 or lower. I've even seen proof coins being graded at 67, 66 grades. There are a lot that are not great, and hopefully those standards will improve. But if you're buying silver and if you're buying Britannias, there's a chance they'll be milked. So I don't necessarily understand why people would particularly throw the toys out the pram for a dealer's sake when they get a batch of silver and it's a bit milky. Like that's part of the risk of it. You've got to manage your own expectations on that. In terms of where you might think the quality is versus where someone else thinks the quality is, that I think is most interesting. Those expectations between dealer, Royal Mint and customer sometimes are vastly different. So it's definitely worth thinking about. And look, if you are somebody who's buying milky Britannias and you don't want them to be all milky, then buy on the second-hand market where you can see the kind of coin that you're buying before you buy it. Or don't buy Britannias, buy something else. Buy something that's not going to milk, like new modern Canadian maples. Those are fine. So, yeah, anyway, it got me thinking, and it's interesting. So, a little bit of a kind of shorter ramble today. We got the update on the King Charles dented coin. That's going to be good, and that's going off today. Other big news still to share that will be shared at some point, but I can't right now. Great to see that the Royal Mint is reaching out, and hopefully we'll have more information on that. But for now, all we can say is if you get a coin that's a bit naff and a bit damaged, then have a think about how you might react if you were told it's just bullion, you can't replace that, you can't refund it. Think about what you might want to target instead of those coins. Think about protecting yourself if you're buying directly from the Royal Mint. Just turn that camera on and see how the coins come out of the package. You don't have to publish it on YouTube, but just if you send off an email to someone, what I'm getting at here is that this is a horrible coin with this ding and dent on. Would I have been treated any differently if I didn't have a YouTube channel with 49,000 subscribers? Probably. I shouldn't be, but maybe. I can't ignore the fact that that's probably playing an influence, which is somewhat sad. But at the same time, it's got to start somewhere, and hopefully with some outreach, some engagement from the Royal Mint, that we might be able to work on this and make it better. So we'll see. I'll keep you all updated though. That's the plan. Excited to share big things in the future. I'm sorry I keep alluding to this, but it's really cool. And if we're right, it's super important, and it's so cool to be there. So a big thank you to you who's in the know about this. There's two people. Well, there's three people I think that know. There's probably a few more, but you know what I mean. Like, three people who are directly involved in this. There's the two people that got me involved, and then I've sought advice from a very trusted friend, and you all know, and it's going to be big. It's going to be fun. Anyway, look, for now, that's it from me. Enough with the cryptic messages. Thank you so much for your kind viewership if you're watching to this stage of a video. It's incredible to hear from my ramblers down in that comment section. Otherwise, we'll see you next time. We've got, a fantastic video for Friday. Here's a sneak peek. It's the Valkyries. It's a coloured, beautiful, high relief stunner. It's definitely one not to miss. And if you're watching to this point in the video, then what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button with the alarm bell and you'll get a notification on Friday as soon as that goes live. Otherwise, that's it from me. We'll see you on the next video. As always, please make sure that you like, share, comment, and subscribe for more.